about to get into game, ladies and gentlemen. It will be Fnatic up against Giants.
Here we go.
Forwards, a lot of aggression coming out from Fnatic. Looking at his goal to Maxwell, can color blues land. Fervent comes in, first blood to Reckless.
They're coming. Listen. I need two dart. Minion. I'm going.
Gamsu is going to find his prey for a first kill, second kill, and looking for that triple onto Hustle, looking mighty fine right now. There's the third kill and the triple. Fnatic find the sweep for the 1-0 in this best of 2 over Giants. Very cool highlights from the last game, but welcome back to the European LCS, where Fnatic currently 1-0 over Giants as we are here on Stream 1.
And Stream 2.
Yeah, but we are crossing streams here on this one, but very interesting game. We saw Giants almost kind of come back. I think there was a little disrespect from Fnatic at some points, and they kind of got punished for that, but honestly, after that start, Maxwell just got absolutely shut down.
Yeah, there was still a silver lining on the Cloud Dragon there for Giants. Knight played well, or decently well. He was making some stuff happen, so if Giant can avoid the atrocious early game, they need to find standard lanes too, I feel. They need to mimic Dynamic Q, Rip Solo Q, Dynamic Q as best as they can to kind of get Sunstar and Hustling comfortable, to put Maxwell in a situation where you can read ganks and gameplay a little bit better. It's incredibly hard to really find the flow of a game as a jungler in a lane swap because there is so limited room for any ganks, really.
I think a lot of the time we just didn't see them on the same page, and that's kind of what we expected from this team. There wouldn't be a lot of synergy between the Koreans right now and the rest of their team. When they grouped together and they went for those fights and they made those pushes, worked out. But when they were actually trying to get there, they kind of coming in one by one, and Sunstar maybe wasn't on the same page, kind of walked in, headshotted someone, was like, oh, I'm dead. Like,
yeah.
You know, it just didn't work out.
It's also the just looming threat and danger of this Fnatic composition. Everybody was building for damage here. Even Lee Sin went Warrior into Black Cleaver, so Fnatic looking to snowball super hard, and they did.
They did. They played the composition. They stayed ahead. Looked precarious for a couple moments, but definitely pulled it back into this one. So, Giants now, first ban. They're on the blue side of this game, of course, swapping up in this best of 2. Zed will be the first ban against Feathervin.
Wow.
And Rise up against Knight.
So maybe Knight just wants this Azir again. Afraid of the counter Zed pick, maybe. Maybe they just have a wealth of champions that just don't lane very well, and they're afraid of early picking on the blue side.
Well, looking towards the next ban from Giants will be Lucian.
What a surprise.
Fnatic have it, yeah. Surprising seeing that champion taken away. But yeah, I see a lot of ADC bans, mid bans nowadays. Braum going to be taken away from Giants, not allowing that to go to Huston. So now we can probably say that was a deny coming up from Yardstar, even though he played it very well. Yeah. First pick last time from Fnatic. Control
on the Braum, but definitely saying we're valuing it higher that you don't get it rather than we need it. So let's see what the LSR pulls out of the bag. Avid Janna player. Overall, despite Janna not really being the meta, I could still see Yellowstar end up playing it. We have some Bard games in his Smash history, so I'm hoping for that one, see how well he has trained that champion. Right now, Kindred and Italy are out. This is where people consider Echo first picks. If you're Giant, or you may just want to get the Trundle again.
Trundle was strong in that last game, didn't kind of reach its full potential, but was exceptionally strong in fights. And waiting for that first pick coming in from Giants.
Yeah, Trundle in a split push really great. It's something Deficio said on the analyst test. It also makes sense. They lacked somebody that could also play on a side lane because everybody was just so afraid of getting collapsed on too. Sunstar had a horrible game, both positioning-wise and just like impact too, as well as the champions that were drafted against him. He really couldn't find any breathing room. But if Giant can find like a comfortable 1v1 comp, double split push, having a champion like a Trundle in there definitely makes sense. The early first pick Vladimir here is very peculiar. It doesn't look like Fnatic would just go like, oh my god, you left Vladimir open.
Oh no, we're
no.
draft.
I'm just gonna first rotation this Vladimir here on purple side. So this feels like Giants had no clue what to pick and kind of went for the Vladimir.
Yeah, interesting. Well, Vladimir first pick in from Giants, looking towards first 2 pickups from Fnatic. I would like this hover, and they lock it in. It will be the Echo and the Lee Sin. Once again, I don't think they really need to change things up. We've got a hover over Talia. She is enabled, but no one picked up.
This is the closest we'll ever get to a Talia pick.
Yeah.
A hover that lasts like 10 seconds. I think that's the closest we'll get today.
It's like 2 people who believe in her, like Bjergsen and Daniel Klein.
Daniel Klein.
Yeah.
He was actually at the European Player Conference giving a class on champ design, and he's asking everybody, Talia? Everyone's like, no. But back to the draft here. I like the first rotation here from Fnatic. It worked last game. Against a team that isn't really that cohesive. It's great to go for the Echo and the Lee Sin. Spirit plays a mean Lee Sin. Kamsu can play, good Echo. So strong opening rotation here for Fnatic. And Giants, they seem to answer with 2 familiar picks as well, Trundle and Elise. In essence, nothing wrong with the picks. It's all about the execution and the gameplay and the composition that you draft with them.
Yeah, we saw glimpses of hope in that last game where they grouped up, made the composition work, but also a lot of the times where Fnatic kind of picked them apart. Trundle and Elise, of course. Waiting on the next 2 pickups from Fnatic. First one will be the Kalista. Really liked it. Out from Reckless in the last game. Had a lot of synergy with Yellowstar. Pulled him out of a couple of sticky situations, threw him into even more sticky situations, but made them work. Very cool to see them be more aggressive in that bot lane with the team.
Yeah, because this is actually a pick we haven't really seen that often lately. It really doesn't come to be as an AD carry. Generally, you see Caitlyn, Ezreal picked over her a lot.
Azir was just picked up now by Thebevin as well, so taking that away from Knight this game. And waiting for the next 2 pickups coming in from Giants. So we'll be rounding off their lineup. It's going to be the support and ADC. I'm not sure if they will lock in a combo, but we have been seeing it in LCK and other regions as well. I like it personally. It's kind of like you have the Ghetto Sivir with the ultimate, so you can speed your team up for a limited amount of time, and you also get that shield.
But why Ghetto Sivir when you go for full-on Sivir? I think I like the Karma here more, because it gives you... almost feels like a little bit more defensive capabilities. Sivir Nami is a lane that's very potent when you push, but if you get ganked once, it's very hard to get out of that situation.
We're going to be bringing up the Nautilus once again. Again, the Hustlin special. I'm still waiting on Sunstar. I think it's going to let it time out into this Sivir pickup, so we'll be onto that team. So definitely just trying to get everyone into that fight. The shorter range mage, kind of mid-range mage coming in from Vladimir. Get the Trundle in there as well. Just kind of run at Fnatic and hope for the best.
Yeah, what do Fnatic answer with here? Sivir into Kalista is actually really rough for the Sivir because you can't spell shield the Ren procs reliably. That's generally why you pair Sivir with a range support then, and you just go for the push, not allowing Kalista to go all in anytime. This time though, Giants have drafted a composition. If they go even in the early game, they can comfortably 1-3-1 double TP, put Sivir in the mid lane, and play from there. Vladimir in a 1v1 scenario is incredibly tough to deal with. So is Trundle. Trundle wins due to outrage and then with Ravenous outsustains, and Vladimir, it's impossible kind of to kill him 1v1. Unrelenting pressure.
Crazy amounts of sustain coming in from Q and the Crimson Brush, of course. And last pickup, it was the Janna. So going back to those range supports in there from Yellowstar.
Yeah, as we were talking about, wouldn't be too surprised seeing Yellowstar and a Janna. And now,
not surprised, Crapper.
And now Reckless is kind of in the boat that Sunstar was in last game if the game stays even, where if he goes on a side lane, he can't really deal with Smitty J nor with Knight's Vladimir, so he has to kind of want to be in the mid lane. But Azir is a pick that hates going on side lanes because he doesn't really run teleport either. So Fnatic, if they get ahead, it's fine, you know. Oh yeah, we group in the mid lane and we siege. But if they fall behind somehow, Giants have a really good option at taking control of the game.
Similar story to last game as well, where Fnatic want to be getting ahead early, and Giants, as long as they can keep even and just not fall horrifically far behind, they can still go for those fights, still group up, still force objectives. Hopefully won't get triple Cloud Drake as well, so there'll be something to fight over in the early game for them, like a nice Ocean Dragon, for example. Some good Infernals out there.
Yeah, moving up in the world.
Yeah, moving on up, and we'll see that one.
That's us.
Looking through the window. Yeah, it should be interesting to see how these compositions interact. Traditional Trundle, I like it. It's going to be an exciting game for sure. But remember to jump on Twitter, use those hashtags GIA win and hashtag FNC win. Show your support on Twitter as we get into this game. You can see the teams ready to get into this second game of this best of two, the final game of day one here at the European LCS Summer Split. Giants trying to get that one win back, while Fnatic looking to try and make it that 2-0. We're heading onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Giants up against Fnatic. Oh, it's going to be Infernal. I'm hyped, you're hyped, we're all hyped.
Yay, Infernal Dragons, who can get it first? Fnatic have a great objective-oriented composition, though. If you look at what they do well, they can set up and take these objectives. The zone from these Azir soldiers, the fact that Janna can always reset a fight, Kalista with the Ren to secure. Fnatic will be definitely having their eyes on that Infernal Drake. They need to be careful though, don't get overrun by the Sivir comp. Vladimir obviously needs some time to scale, so an early dragon here could be the case for Fnatic. But
Gamsu.
one ward advantage
Yeah.
already.
Taken out. Got it. One ward advantage over to Smitty J. Both of them going for these refillable potions, of course, into this early game. Mid lane. Knights opted towards the Doran Shield.
Corruption pots, refillable pots. Everybody's being economical. But Hustlin and the All-Star, they're throwing away the biscuits.
Not
Thinking
today.
about the future. Going for that short-term enjoyment.
Yeah. Well, also good investment for Gamsu. He'll probably go for the Dark Seal and get some more punch out of that item pickup. Spirit chilling up on the top side. And we're going to probably have standard lanes this time. So we saw the lane swap last time.
Yeah, I like the range support pickup into this matchup because it means that Yellow Star and Reckless can actually go for the push advantage in this lane. Sivers has a really rough laning phase. She gets out-traded early and then pushed in. And look at what Reckless and Yellow Star are doing here. They're kind of just pulling the wave so it pushes towards them because they know they have the trade advantage. They know Hustlin and Sunstar can never get ahead, so now they're going to move up and try and deny CS and experience here potentially. They'll probably won't deny experience, but they're denying CS here. Sunstar and Hustling have a little bit of issues. Of course, this means if they play into the strategy too much, Sunstar and Hustling can just push in. But here we go, the shield rend combo. Obviously, you're playing kind of 2v1. Sivir here.
Kind of unfortunate. Kind of ricocheted the back minions and then got zoned away immediately from them. So just lost all of them. And that just gave Reckless the entire wave. So sad times for Sivir.
Backfiring a little bit though, because if you look at the minimap, whereas Reckless and Yellowstar could be pushing, because they had a control early, they still gave over the push to Sunstar and Hustlin, and they're definitely happy for this, because this is, in my opinion, then a laning mistake.
Yeah.
If you go for that strategy, you need to have the gusto, the balls to pull it off. If not, you might as well push early, push Sivir under the tower. Because now she can get into a laning pattern where she can technically just keep you pushed in for quite a while.
Maxlaw will take away that buff and maybe look to get some early aggression down, something we didn't see last game after that first buzz. So maybe he'll try and make something happen. We'll take away this crab. Half Evan coming down, just inspecting what's going down here. Ward comes up as well. So could be a small opportunity for Maxlaw to loop around and maybe make something happen. Bot lane, now seeing Hustlin's dredge line is down, can put a bit of harass back on towards them. In the mid lane, Knights charging up Tides of Blood, but did not come out ahead in that trade.
Yeah, and both junglers know where the respective other is. They had a little skirmish earlier, as we see Knight fight Fevin. See the power of Vladimir here. Really contesting pushes early on already. This new Vladimir. And we saw the Wolf Sprite reveal Maxlord.
Yeah.
And obviously Maxlord can see when the Wolf Sprite was taken. So then he actually knows exactly where Spirit is. Obviously you saw him left side first. Hang on, hook on Reckless.
He's good for now. Riptide lands, but the base damage on that have been nerfed repeatedly, so not going to be hurting too much, and takes a lot of those Ren spears coming out there. Spirit's heading down to the bot side, but I believe he was just tagged by that vision, so he's going to be pinged out. Sunstar still pushing up and really not going to get this gank down today. Sentinels are being also sent out by Reckless. Sniff out any danger. Back to that mid lane. Small advantage for Knight early on into this one.
You see them basing though here, because they had that ward. So that's good. Now they don't have to be afraid of the brush, which means Sunstar and Hustling can comfortably push out. If it wasn't for that, then they had to be kind of afraid. So they can somewhat equal out the CS here. So I think they're okay with that. Playing Sivir not into Janna Kalista, being down a little bit of CS is something you should be happy about.
Spirit still clearing out this jungle. Maxlaw's coming around.
So wants to see if he can have a stab at that one.
Oh no. Well, jumps over the wall. Didn't quite get the ward, so he did not utilize the Razor Sharp buff to its fullest, but still does not die, so that's pretty good. Bot lane, Hustling getting chased down. Yellowstar taking a lot of damage in return. Sunstar getting damage onto Yellowstar, and Reckless is just going to die. He just carries on trading. I just kind of expect him to back away, and with Spinny going into the bot lane, he's going to tank up the tower. Just needs another auto attack. Well, they're going to finish off Yellowstar, but that was a bit weird.
Yeah, we need to kind of see that again to really highlight a lot of the mistakes that went on here from Fnatic. So the thought is, our AD carry comes back from base with more items, therefore we can win the trade. But Yellowstar went for the same kind of aggressive pattern where he exhausts the support aggressively to slow him down, but they can't burn through him in time. Then they switch focus to Sunstar, and because Reckless is burning so low, Sunstar knows, I'm just going to pop my spell shield at the end here. Let's watch this again. Also, take note of how many minions there are here. So Reckless going aggressive right now. He has a shield on him. Hustling flashes. The shield's broken, so no more AD bonus. They get a maximum value heal because there's no ignite to reduce it. And then Sunstar has kind of the zoning spell shield. It's up for as long as Reckless lives. And obviously Reckless is not going to pull the trigger to give Sunstar more mana. So he can't really rend either. And that's just a bad all-in from Fnatic. The teleport wasn't even needed from Smitty. It was just the insurance there. Yeah, a little over-aggressive here. Reckless and Yellowstar. Seemingly very passionate about getting rid of the whole... Yeah, they're just a bot lane that goes even mentality.
Wow.
Now they're behind.
Yeah, now they're behind. Was it worth it? Well, Hustlin gonna be walking up, finding Spirit. He's been walking on out. 6 minutes into this game, a lot more pressure and vision over that dragon area.
Yeah, more importantly, because now Sunstar gets the free BF sword as well on his first base. And it matters a lot because you just pop the shield instantly right now. Any boomerang or an auto W just pops the Janna shield immediately, and a lot of the trading advantage kind of goes out the window. Also, you can just clear the waves a lot quicker. Maxwell looking for Cocoon here. The less time you spend clearing waves, obviously the less time Kalista has stacking those spears on you. It's a lot easier to play.
Well, back up to the mid lane, haven't touched it in a little while. There's a lot of action has been down there. Good little punish there from Febervin. The advances from Knights is picking off a little bit, but still is maintaining it. Looking towards probably the Spirit Visage first, coming in here. Yeah. We saw Vladimir early pick up the Proto Belt, went ahead.
So there's a couple of builds you can do on this new Vladimir. The core is always Spirit Visage first because the stats are so valuable and what you get from it. You know, the CDR, the health, the MR too, because you build Vladimir and you generally play against mages. Yeah. Then if you are not sure what to build, you can always go Warmox. It's never bad to pick up a Warmox second, it seems like. But if you're slightly ahead, Rylai's or just even Rylai seems like a good second item because it just means that when you get the turbo Q, you know, after 2 transfusions, the third one speeds you up. You can then slow people, get for more Qs and Es, etc. And you have become a very annoying force to deal with, especially on side lanes. And then later you can opt in Proto Belt to go super aggressive, Void Staff if you want to snowball. But the core build seems to be Visage, Rylai's, and Warmox, and you become unkillable. It's so annoying to deal with the Vladimir. One guy got me, 17 LP as well. Thanks to that guy. Forgot his name, but he carried the hell out of my game.
Yep, thank you to you. Really love building Warmogs on Vladimir. It feels so rewarding. There's so few champions who pick up that item, and having that out of combat regeneration is crazy good. But usually if you pick up like second item, you don't even have 3,000 health to benefit from that. But it's still a good item for him. Of course, scaling from health on his E. Lots of damage coming through. Yeah,
Febervin right now is kind of experienced what it is to play into a sustain matchup. Finally, you get it in the mid lane. Bot laners have to deal with it a lot. You basically try and kill them over and over, and they sustain up, and eventually you run out of mana, and they don't run out of mana or health. Good old Soraka equivalent.
Yeah.
Knight doesn't have mana, doesn't run out of health either.
It's true. It's like Soraka on steroids, but in the mid lane. Not fun to play against. Top lane, I haven't even spoken about them yet because it is FLICKR. And they are equal farm, have not touched each other, and have been playing Farmville. So.
Usually, it's not as even in this matchup. We just had production whisper in our ears that Echo used the ultimate to get back to lane after basing. So quick buy. You only have 4 seconds.
Yeah. Click, 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 click. Managed to get it in time. Yellowstar going to pull back to Reckless. Going to be zoning away Maxwell. He goes up. He goes down. Gamsu coming out here. Tide of Blood will be charged up. And will be backing away. Giants forced into this choke point. A lot of damage coming in there from Febervin. They're all back away back into this mid lane. So very quickly, all of these players kind of came around this blue buff area, but no one went down.
Gamsu still had his teleport.
Febervin. Yeah. Takes a spider, but did not go down, so sidesteps the dredge line there.
I'm liking it from Giants so far. The Fnatic couldn't kind of crack open that bottom lane, so Sunstar's fine right now. Big stark contrast compared to game 1. And what we were talking about before these pesky little teams started fighting is that Trundle should have a small lead over Echo. But because obviously Smitty J teleported to the bot lane, kind of watched Yellowstar die. Reckless die rather, and then didn't really get anything out of it himself. He got a little bit behind. But Giants, they seem to have control of the game already. While we were talking about how good Fnatic is at like controlling some of these objectives, Giants are the one controlling the map right now. Knight's doing phenomenally well on his Vladimir. Continuous push on a Nazir. Smitty J, early respect flash and a juke. This is all good stuff from Giants.
Just in case Spirit kicks him back into his team. Delicious Infernal Dragon will go down to Giants.
And then the writing on the wall spells another Infernal there.
2 in a row. Spirit over the wall. I think he was spotted. That's the fullback ping.
Sneaky Smitty J is there. So he's keeping tabs on Spirit. Now that tabs is no longer in the LCS.
Yeah, he's not keeping tabs. He's watching him though. Smitty J. He's watching his tower get destroyed by Gamsu.
Just like Rocket wasn't keeping tabs.
Well, Smitty, he's happy to carry on taking away these minions. And game has definitely slowed down. Not really fighting over the dragon. And Fnatic.
It's generally really hard to fight over the dragon when it's not there anymore.
That's true, especially when it's a Drake. And, you know, Fnatic. You spoke about them in Champion Select. If they fall behind, could face some issues heading into mid-game, late game.
It feels like such a generic caster comment. Yes, if this team falls behind, it'll be very hard for them.
They're gonna lose.
Thank you for your analysis, Grabo. Here's your briefcase full of cash.
Yeah, but it's more true with this composition.
Yeah, it's hard for them because they don't have any ways to kind of come back at it. Their CC is all kind of conditional. So if you can use the threat of an objective to force people into kind of chokeholds or use these zones to influence their movement, sure. But if you're trying to contest an objective, people are going to step out of parallel conversions. It's going to be hard for Feven to make a play. And Yellowstar's Janna isn't really the one that wants to be thrown in. You can throw in a Braum, but you don't really want to throw in a Janna. And because the Silver lane is not continuously pushing in this Kalista Janna lane either, their usefulness is going down as well. So Giants have control of the wave in the mid lane, they have the stronger duel in the top lane, and they have the AFK push in the bottom. That makes it very hard for Spirit to find an opening on the Lee Sin.
Gamsu taking a bit of damage there. Pillar comes up, but he's good to go. Backs off to the tower. And the matchup is slowly shifting in Smitty J's favor. Knight, he's going to have to do something here. We'll go into the Sanguine pool. Spirit, what does he have to follow up? Well, Azir will do just that. Max Lord comes here just in time to save him.
That's the difference between last game. Now we can just simply pull out. Yellowstar in the river.
Sunstar getting caught out. Flashes forwards right into the Fate's core, but Spirit's there to back them up. Max Law, he's playing fire control, comes in, doesn't land the cocoon, and now he doesn't want any of this anymore. Will flash away into the bot side of the map. Spirit follows after, lands the Q, and with Azir coming in from the mid lane, sliding and gliding into Max Law. Repel comes up, looking for the sneaky juke, but not going to happen today. Febiven will find him, and he will kill him. 2-0 to Fnatic.
Yeah, Hustling desperately trying to base here. His base got cancelled. Gamsu,
hey,
ulting back. Smitty J did not have teleport. Again, when he doesn't have teleport, Fnatic is using that window of opportunity really well to make roams here. Knight is still in the mid lane. So Fnatic, they make the good reaction. You can't deal with him. You can't gank him. He's out pressuring you. Well, just step away from him. Vladimir doesn't really roam that well, especially once his ulti is down. So Fnatic, they go for the full-on bot lane party. We would need to go back and see what brought Giants to the river. Because Sivir and Nautilus shouldn't really be in the river, and even then they should have on the hunt to escape. Big fan of the patience that Fnatic had as well. Let's watch this again. So this is the initial gank here on Knight. No kick flash from Spirit, mostly because flash is down. It's very hard to kick flash them. Knight goes out, so he's fine, but Feben's a lot healthier, Spirit's healthier, so they're going to move in for play here. And this is where Giants is just making a mistake. I mean, this on the hunt aggressively from Sunstar is a major mistake, and he costs his team all the momentum they've procured. They wait for Spell Shield to fade, double knock up, then Maxwell gets caught out, has to flash, Febiven circling around, and this is all because the Giant bot lane wants to fight in the river. When their entire job this game is just to simply keep pushing in that tower on the bottom lane, and then they can run to their tower to be safe. Right now they were just out, way too far in the open.
Yeah, miscommunication for sure. Sunstar popping the ult and even coming up the river trying to assist mid lane. Mid tower does go down though to Giants, even that up 1-2-1. So they managed to find that in rotation. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining until the second Infernal Dragon.
Yeah.
See if Fnatic can pick that one up.
Just makes me sound like a whiny grandpa when I see that stuff, you know. Just play towards your win condition. Don't try to win it all at once.
Yep.
It's very clear that it's almost as if when you play solo queue and you have a clear gameplay pattern that gets your team ahead. It's like, okay, we're doing this, it works, let's keep doing it. Then suddenly, once you get ahead, everybody gets these crazy ideas.
Yeah.
No, now I can walk into the jungle alone and fight their entire team.
To make mistakes. But, every mistake will put you further behind, and from that advantage, now Fnatic is ahead. Gamsu, he's still clearing out this minion wave. He's still good against Smitty. He can hold the line. Oh, Spirit is coming in. Knight is dropping low, pops the ultimate. Hemoplague will heal him back up for a little bit. Going to be flashing away, and Spirit will flash after him. He is going deep, lands the Q, lands the ult. do it.
Welcome to Vladimir, boys. Collapse coming into the jungle too from Giants. I really like the distribution here from Giants. Once that bot lane tower was down, there was no reason for Sunstar to be exposed anymore on a side lane. They put him mid, just like we talked about in champs, like the 1-3-1 here from Fnatic. The dual being won in the top lane. J winning there. Knight can hold his own on the bottom lane, because even ganging up 2v1 is incredibly hard. The sustain, look at it. Like, Reckless just went to 30% HP. He was stacking the spears like, okay, 2 more spears, I can maybe pop this guy, and suddenly Knight, with just 1 item, is already full.
Yeah.
Imagine what this is going to be once he starts picking up maybe the Warmugs, the Rylai's. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Not even a damage item. We'll get a little bit off his passive, but not all that much.
Anything's a damage item for Vladimir.
Yeah, you can build literally anything pretty much and it will result in Vladimir hitting you harder. Top tower is finally going down. Gamsu was unable to hold the door on that one. In the bottom lane, Knight is going to be taking away these minions. Spirit, he's taking away the Infernal Dragon. Mid lane, a lot of damage onto Maxlor. But overall, Fnatic get away with that. 1 apiece. Both of them getting that Infernal Dragon.
Yeah, tower traded though for Giants here. Bang on even and gold. But the scaling though, it's going to be incredibly hard to deal with both Knight and J. Back in the day, the good old days of League of Legends.
The good old days, yeah.
About 2 months ago, you could QSS out of both their ultis, but right now, can't.
Yep. Good old war stories from Grandpa Grappo here. Back in my day.
I remember it clearly. It was February 2016. I was playing against the Trundle and Vladimir. They both used their ultis on me, and I pressed Quicksilver Sash. Now, who am I kidding? I'm a supporter. I can't afford Quicksilver Sash.
I was too poor. But Yellow Star, he's going to be warding on up here. And Sunstar and Hustlin, again, venturing forth outside of their natural habitat of bot lane. And we coming up the river here. Yellow Star. The Spirit lying in wait. This triple man gang squad going to be popping the ultimate. But right into these 2 players. Good. Howling Gale out from Yellow Star, who's still under attack, is going to be Reckless. Yellow Star jumping in front of him, trying to find the cocoon. Teleport coming in from Smitty J, but a collapse in from Gamsu, who might be good in from Fnatic. Parallel convergence lands on 2, and both of them will die immediately to Fnatic's follow-up. Mike getting chased down, Maxlor as well, jumping back to safety with the Chrono Break. Double kill out for Reckless, looking for the last one and tonight, and this is as clean as it gets for Fnatic, the clean ace.
Fnatic clean up with the ace. Good thing and a bad thing here for Giants. The good thing is there was no hesitation on the engage. The bad thing is that there was no hesitation on the engage. They just kept going for it, solo Q style all in, use all their cooldowns to get to the target, and then they realized they're getting pincered collapsed here. Major props to Spirit in the midst of all that chaos. He managed to find Sunstar. Let's see this again. So this is on the hunt used. 3-man nade from Yellow Star here. Q to the wall to then flash. Flash cocoon. Reckless is still not caught. There's no CC left. Q connects to Sunstar. Spirit waits. Again, a spell shield waste. Sunstar gets connected with the Q and then pops a random spell shield that gets him killed. And then February comes in and cleaning up. So, yeah, even a Fed Knight can't really do anything here.
Yeah, but see how much health he's getting back. He went into Sanguine Pool and basically went back to full health again. But Fnatic, 5 people wailing on him. Eventually he goes down, building towards the Zhonya's Hourglass now in this game, so he can survive a little bit longer in those situations. And Fnatic, 3,000 gold ahead, 8-1, definitely have control over this game now. And taking away all of these buffs for themselves. Take a look at some of the item builds, looking towards mid lane now. Nash's Tooth looking towards probably the Rylai's coming out there.
Look at the pings here. They're looking for an incredibly early Baron here. This is something we've seen more today. Yellow Star on the bottom lane here. Spirit in the bottom lane. Smitty J's pathing over. He's hoping he doesn't path a ward or a sentinel. Is Fabi gonna spot him? No.
Don't mind me, Febvin.
Febvin is scared of his own jungle, so he's scared of kind of... Yeah, he's scared of Smitty J being in one of these bushes. Like, guys, I can't push mid lane. Now they figure out Baron's going on. Teleport comes out here from Knight. Look at the parallel convergence, though.
Will the reaction be fast enough? Gamsu over the wall. Parallel convergence doesn't really land on anyone. But
Spirit gets it!
Fnatic! And Spirit gets it down with Giants now being followed after. This is all going down a creek without a paddle. And with Fnatic looking for this last kill on tonight, that will be a 4-0. And the Baron. You cannot get anything over Fnatic in this game.
A creek without a paddle.
Yeah, a certain creek filled with certain things, Greppo.
Yeah. Well, creaking and paddling here. Fnatic, I like the move from Giant. It's bold. It's no hesitation. Sadly, maybe the teleport from Knight could have come earlier to just really rush that play here. They felt they were behind. It does seem that Giants make moves that they can never pivot from.
Yeah.
They can never kind of alter their gameplay because the communication isn't there. When they went for the pick in the top lane, nobody had the presence of mind to say like, guys, mayhaps we are in too deep here. They kept going for it. A bold Baron call here at the 20-minute mark. Feven comes in, swoops in, scoops everybody out of the pit here. And Spirit comes in, early smite. Yeah. So this is an early smite here from Maxwell. So hard to do on the stage as well because when Feven separates him from the Baron, there's obviously no longer the Q smite combo possible. Spirit has a relatively easy steal. It's always easier when your enemy jungler already uses smite. Yeah, clutch steal here by Spirit. Fnatic get the Baron and the cleanup.
They are just so far ahead in this game. Look at that Baron power play. 5,000 gold. All in that one play. 20 minutes into the game is crushing for Giants.
It's the best Baron power play where you get the Baron first and then you clean them up.
Yeah.
As opposed to killing them and getting the trophy Baron.
That's true. Adds to your stat line. And Fnatic pushing all of these waves. Giants, like, they went for the Hail Mary. Props to them for making it happen. They're still trying to find these picks, trying to make plays.
See, that's the stuff I like. Where nothing's happening, but Feven, he's respecting the brush, so he goes for the cheeky Azir combo in the pit and over.
Yeah.
Really just respecting potential pickoffs.
I want to see more of that, actually, as Azir's coming back into the meta, and those changes a while back for Azir, where you can pull some really cool sliding glide combos through really thick terrain. Don't see too much of it. There's like the horseshoe that you can do, and the dash chance, but
you can dash in.
Most scenarios.
Yeah, you can dash in ulti and then follow your ulti out of the fight. But there's actually never a scenario where you want to do that because you end up at the same side of the wall as your opponent. So,
But it looked cool.
It does look.
Unfortunately, yeah, there's very little practical applications of that skill. So Fnatic still pushing it up into the bot lane, the top lane, the mid lane. Spirit is now a split pusher. 1, 0, and 8 this game. Has picked up the Black Cleaver.
Yeah.
And Smitty J is starting to get the better, or rather Gamsu's getting the better of Smitty J in the top lane. Slowly but surely. Not anymore. Now with Sunstar and the rest of Giants closing in, but yeah, Gamsu's already gone, guys.
That passive. And then Knight's playing 2v1 in the bottom lane. Look at the damage. It's so hard to deal with him, but right now Reckless strong enough. He also has lifesteal right now. It's obviously key if you want to duel Vladimir as an AD carry. You need to lifesteal, especially when you have AoE attacks here too. Reckless, he can clear out the waves with ease while fighting Knight at the same time.
Fight that sustain with sustain. Bot lane. Gonna be taking down this tower. Fnatic breaking that base open, and this will just, I feel like this is going to be the slow grind right now. But the Baron is just one off.
I mean, I'm not sure what your definition of slow is when they're
going to be the fast grind right now.
they're over 11,000 gold ahead of 24 minutes. Yeah.
Bit of a slow game here.
This game is really not delivering here.
Well, Fnatic gonna find the Earth Dragon, the Mountain Dragon, and that will accelerate the game because it is such a slow push, honestly, coming in from Fnatic right now. Going back to base, 24 minutes into this game, already cracked open the base. Inhib is open for them, and you can see the nice shiny Earth Dragon, the Mountain Dragon.
Sadly, there's not a Cloud Break, otherwise it would have been like Earth, Wind, and Fire. We won't get to that point anymore. It's another Infernal coming up here. It seems like they really come in packs, these dragons.
They do, yeah. Over on CSQ, we like to perform alchemy with them, so we combine, of course, the Mountain and Infernal would fuse together and form a Volcano.
Volcano?
Yeah. So depending on the next one, we can, of course, adapt that into something else. Fnatic coming into the mid lane, right? He's still farming up the jungle. And
is this like an active volcano then?
Before the storm.
Fires?
Yeah, I mean, it's ready to erupt for sure.
Is that a metaphor for this game? Spirit right here?
It might be. Not quite yet. It's got the warning signs for sure. Fnatic gearing up, setting up the top wave, setting up the mid wave, and he's looking to push in. Well, and Hib is still open, by the way.
I mean, they see Sunstar in the bottom lane, so this is just going to be an immediate dive here for Fnatic. Fiercely protecting those two lonesome range creeps that are marching into their inevitable demise. Oh, Reckless.
Reckless. He thought he was safe from the 2 range crew, but they were not. Sunstar instantly pops though. And meanwhile, Reckless still trying to back away. Knight will find him. Shut down there for Maxwell. Emperor's Divide trying to buy some time. Fnatic definitely on the retreat here. Spirit really can't get involved in this straight turnaround. And the soldiers will obliterate Maxwell. Gamsu comes into the fray. Hustler not trying to back off here. Knight, he's got the sustain in from the ultimate, but it might not quite be enough. And it will be Knight to him. Now the chase down onto Spirit. That's another kill. 4 for 1. Fnatic come out ahead once again.
Yeah, Fnatic get engaged onto Reckless, but Velastar buys enough time for him. It doesn't matter that he drops because the continuous DPS from Feven and the late teleport from Gamsu is enough. That was the eruption we were waiting for.
There's the eruption. And Fnatic pushing in the top lane. There will be the inhib going down for sure. Now we have the respawns out from Giants, so not going to be taking any more. Maybe will. Sunstar, he's
burning.
Respawning, he's burning, he's dead. Should have stopped, dropped and rolled, but didn't have that ability.
I wish that was like the counter to red buff burns.
Yeah.
Just drop on the floor, start rolling.
Yeah. On stage. He's like, guys, I'm burning, please heal. But Sunstar, he spent a lot of time dead in this game. Dropped at that fight, dropped again as soon as he came up. And did a lot last game as well.
Screen covered in ashes, completely great.
Oh, Gamsu. He just found the 1v1, and I mean, what are you going to do as an AD carry in this position? Oh,
Not flash.
Over the wall.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're not going to do. You're never going to flash when Echo's E is about to come up. You need to wait for it to proc, otherwise you just carry him over and you're dead 100%.
Yeah, it's the Lee Sin thing, but we can see the opening again to this fight and the cleanup. And just really good work by Gamsu, not only getting the 1v1, but also getting the cleanup into this fight.
Yeah, good aggressive flash NATO there from YellowStar too. It basically puts people in place for the parallel convergence stun from Echo. Another good NATO here, canceling Smitty J. Fnatic right now in complete control. 14,000 gold in the lead is preposterous. It's just too much to deal with.
It's not possible. Gamsu.
How can he lead?
How can he lead? That is a really good question. Gamsu getting caught up. He is chasing after Maxlaw. He separates from the team. Hustler's going to try and bail him out though. Knocked against the wall. Good ultimate in from YellowStar. Everyone is coming in to this fight. Spirit over the wall. The kick and the kill. 3-0. Fnatic finding incredibly good fights from themselves. 20-2 in this game. This game has gone out of control in these last 8 minutes.
Yeah, and if you're tuning right now and you see, okay, Fnatic is 20 kills against 2 for Giants, you think this is going to be, this was a complete stomp here, but Giants, for me, it all goes back to that play where Sunstar popped his ulti in the river. They elected to change their gameplay pattern from just pushing all lanes, using Knight's pressure, and it all started crumbling from there. Also, the rotation down in the bot lane then from Fnatic that followed. That one mistake from a single player or his team electing not to tell him not to do that. Cost him 3 kills, a tower, all the map play. Suddenly Knight couldn't really maneuver anymore himself, and things started crumbling there for Giants. So definitely worth rewatching for them. I think they'll pause and rewatch that entire sequence a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely could have used better use of the fallback ping there. Fnatic now pushing down the mid lane. Should be able to get this tower very easily, and this should probably be a very easy hit on top of that. Knight is charging Tides of Blood, but it really just scratches YellowStar.
Yeah, maybe we finally found the reason why people spam it, you know, just to practice.
That's true.
So when they scrim and they get to LCS, that they're 100% sure how they use the Spirit here, going for the win sec.
But he only knocks Macalor off to the side. As you don't think it's going to matter. But Sunstar just get a kill onto Spirit to open up the fight. And everyone's just trading blows all over the place. Fevin's now onto Maxwell and Sunstar on the 1-on-2. And finds both of the kills for himself. 5-1, only 1 casualty. And Fnatic will find a very convincing end to this best of 2 here. 29 minutes into this game. And they crush Giants' dreams onto Nexus itself. 2-0, 3 points on the week.
Yeah, 3 kills, 2 towers, and I believe just 1 dragon here for Giants. That's all they managed to get here. Fnatic closing out the series 2-0 as expected. We were saying, is this a gauge for how good Fnatic is? Still some mistakes, but Reckless, he's playing on the forefront. He's not afraid to get caught, and he's going in.
Yeah, and it's cool to see. Very entertaining. And even if he dies, he's usually taking a lot of people with him. Had a very similar scoreline last game as well. 2 deaths, both games. Really outstanding performance. YellowStar also coming back into the lineup, looking real clean. 1-0 and 21 in that game.
I mean, he had some Mage Eyes at the end of the game with 20 stacks. Somehow we keep missing that every time. By we, I mean myself. Obviously,
I'll take half the blame.
Sure. I'll give you the other half. Call your fault, Pulse. No, 20 stacks on Gamsu 2 here. Just look at the score lines. 15 assists, 12, 10, 10. And the ones with 10 assists have 9 and 8 kills each respectively. Featherman and Reckless here. Fnatic run a teamfight comp, and they fought together as a team. Giants couldn't really do anything after that kind of key phase that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, it really was just the Baron really going for that Hail Mary play after losing a little bit in the early game. And from there, it was just a very, very steep hill where Fnatic took everything from them. Nothing really Giants could do.
I like what Knight brought to the table. He seems to have at least potential. I want to follow more of what he can do against some of these other mid laners here.
We know he's a very mechanically strong mid laner. We've seen the highlight clips, we've seen the plays. We saw it in the mid lane up against Featherman as well.
Yeah, definitely had the pressure advantage in this game. CS advantage in last game. Sunstar is for me a big question mark though. His performance positioning in both these games was incredibly lackluster, and it's something we talked about in the opening of this game too. Having your AD carry be and your mid laner be Koreans. Mid laners on an island can perform because it's 1v1, but AD carries, they need to synergize, you know, with top laners to call for teleports, with their supports to see what you're doing, with the team to figure out where you need to be, push freeze, where you put the pressure. It's no longer just raw laning ability, and Sunstar was definitely lacking the communication and positioning part.
Yeah, I think communication was the key one for me. I mean, like walking up river halfway through that game with the supports just kind of in tone. It's just like, come with me, this is a good idea. And then immediately gets collapsed upon, and all of it just kind of collapsed from there. And it was sad because actually Giants did have the advantage.
Oh, they had the game at that point.
And then Sunstar just walks up and it just becomes a fight. Maxwell tries to bail him out. He also goes down. Yeah, it was a sad play.
Control of the game. Let's not say by the game I don't mean, oh, they've had already won. You know, if they were just somewhat decent, they would have won that game. No, they had control of the game, and they could have given us a lot more interesting of a game. But we saw Fnatic shining in some of these teamfights.
Yeah, well, it is now time to send it down to Pyrotechnics, who is on stage with Yellowstar.
Thank you very much, Pulse. Of course, I am joined by Yellowstar. Once again, welcome. You're back. It's good to have you again. Let me just ask you, how were you able to slot back into Fnatic? You just slide right into the shot caller again?
I mean, it was natural. You know, I stayed in the house. I was a bit afraid because I didn't know like the Koreans, but it was just natural. You know, we got in game, we played, and I was just doing the way I was doing last year. So I felt pretty comfortable. So it was really nice.
It certainly showed through in that series. I mean, you guys got off to a pretty good start. A few stumbling blocks in game one versus Giants, but that second game, incredible performance. Nice stacks on your Medjais, by the way. Where do you rate a lot of the teams in LCS right now? So much has changed since you played here in Europe.
It's still the beginning of the season, so it was really hard to tell, considering that we only had like 10 days of practice, but we've played almost all the teams. I would say we still need more practice, obviously, but I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to stack up at the top, and hopefully we'll take the trophy back.
Ooh, okay. I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys are able to perform there. You said you have a little bit more work to do. Where do you think you'd rate your team at the moment in the split of everything? Obviously, you haven't even been able to see everybody's games, but just knowing where your skill level is at right now and knowing relative levels from some of the teams from the scrims and practices, where do you think Fnatic at the moment stacks up?
We still have like some issues to work on. I wouldn't be afraid to say that we should be in the top 3 right now, and I hope that will show it really soon.
All right, well, let me ask you the last thing here. Who do you think those other 2 teams are in the top 3 at the moment? I think I have a feeling I know at least one of those, but go ahead and tell me.
I don't know, you guess? I would say G2, and the other one maybe H2K, I would say. I'm not sure yet.
Well, there's a lot of split to play out. It is great to have you back, Bora. Thank you once again, and a fantastic performance. You can go ahead and join your team backstage. For now, though, we are going to send it back to the analyst desk to have Shox and the guys break it down to close out the day.
Thank you very much. All those foregone conclusions after day one.
Crystal ball is fires away. Who's the best, man? Where are you ranking? Come on, day one.
Well, I mean, I think it was nice in the way he said it, not being overconfident, but definitely in the way they played in these games. You could say, well, looking into the future, possibly top 3. Let's break down those games a little bit more. Giants trying to fight back in game 1, and then game 2. Aside from the dying in lane, the Janna Kalista, things went pretty good for Fnatic in game 2 as well.
Sure, dying in lane, bad. Don't do that.
Just teasing.
When it came to composition-wise, I actually felt like Giants had a much better setup this one. And I looked at the game once they got standard lanes, once they got the early first blood, I'm like, you know what? Giants can actually win this game because they have like a Vladimir who can't be stopped in one side lane, you have a Trundle who can't be stopped in the other one. Problem is, Giants decide to not even get caught up because they actually walked into it. They were like the ones starting fights when they couldn't because everyone else was like recalled. And yeah, Giants literally just gave so many free kills away that when they had a good 1-3-1 setup, they never got to use it because they just got caught out.
Yeah, we have actually a really good replay of setting this one up.
There it is.
Because as the physio was saying, this whole thing starts off with a gank in the middle, and then the bottom lane rotate up through the river to try and provide that support. And this is what we were really confused about. Why are you trying to force an engagement when your team has already decided to disengage?
Yeah, nothing tilts me more than seeing a team opt into a play where there's basically no good outcome. Like, the best that can happen for Giants here is that they maybe force a defensive flash from Yellowstar, and that is it. The worst that can happen is exactly what happened, because Vladimir had been poked down from a trade in the mid lane, so he was basically running out. Elise was on the other side of the Dragon Wall, and yet you opt into engaging on the Janna with your Sivir ulti being popped. It's like, why? Guys, 1-3-1, you're going to win. Your Trundle is destroying the Echo up in top lane.
And not only that, that kind of transitions itself into our secondary play where we were looking at it and we're saying, well, Giants, you probably shouldn't chase here. And then it ends up really badly for them. Again, they kind of end up putting it, it was actually the Baron we got. So yeah, I mean, this is another kind of play where Giants are trying to rush it down at 20. Slightly different replay than we were expecting. Max Law, I don't know whether it's nerves. He also gets pushed back by Febby, but odd smite timing very early allows for the smite steal to come through. But again, Giants put themselves in a situation where perhaps they don't need to be making that 50-50 play, because that Baron, sure, if they get it, they basically can build that comeback that they're looking for. But it's not super critical to go, okay, well, guys, the only way we can win this game is a Baron rush at 25 minutes.
Sure. I do feel like before that Baron, the team fight we wanted to have shown, where they fell even further behind, was like, okay, now as Giants, you basically lost the entire game. And I feel like this was one of these situations where, as a top team, Fnatic just have the experience to say, you know what, guys, we might be in a bad situation here and there, but we can wait for them to make mistakes and just punish it. And they did. All game long, it was like, okay, now Giants overextend, punish. Or you're trying to do Baron in 20 minutes, Spirit gets the 50-50 smite, and game is over.
To be fair to Giants, they still had some moments of promise. I mean, we did see them go for a deep invade when playing around the Dragon, where they actually set up really nicely. They didn't lose any members, but they forced Fnatic incredibly low. They then had the numbers advantage, and they tried to go for a pick onto Febby, which didn't work out. But overall, you and I were discussing whether or not that was a safe play, and then with the vision that they gained, they were then freely able to take themselves that first Infernal Drake. So there were definitely signs of promise from Giants. It was just moving forward, they didn't quite have the best decision-making to build on that advantage.
Yeah, definitely things to build on. As said, only the first series for them in Summer Split. Player of the game for us after looking at game 2, that is Febiven. Fantastic Azir play. After that game 1, he was like, I'm not getting caught again. I'm picking Azir, and I'm doing very well. But as Yellowstar said in the interview, it was kind of like I came back and everything felt like the way it had. It seemed like I'd never been gone. Maybe that's also why their calls, as you say, when it's between going or not going and maybe a 50-50, they make the right decision. So overall, very good showing. Febiven player of the game and a 2-0 start, and also 3 points for Fnatic.
Yeah, good start for them. Want to see them against tougher opposition, but I think, when you look at how they kind of dealt with Giants in general, I think it's, safe to say Fnatic are in a good starting position for summer. And
clearly scrims been working out, seeing as Yellowstar was saying from scrims, like, yeah, we are top 3 at the moment. Can't really disagree from what we saw today. Sure, small mistakes in there. Honestly, they just punish Giants every single time. Won it, and I think this Fnatic lineup will stay around the top all split long. I just want to see what happens when it comes to like these really close games against like G2 and which other top teams we will have.
Yeah, we did get a nice quote there from Yellowstar saying, we will get that title back. That's what we want to hear, of course. Pirate prying that out of him. Now, with the end of that series, we have officially loaded into the post-game lobby after our first day of the 2016 Summer Split. So this is where we get to recap everything that happened today. It was an eventful day for us as well. In front of and behind the scenes, a lot going on. So let's go back. A lot to cover across today's 10 games. We're going to start with our match of the week, which was our first series Origin up versus G2 Esports. Super hyped. Of course, the bottom lane matchup in there, and it looked like it was going to turn out to be a 1-1, but a very eventful series overall.
Yeah, it certainly was. The second game was much closer than the first one, but concentrating more on the first one, Fizz, Perks, really exciting to see that coming out in the first match of the day. And the fact that he was able to snowball so quickly was really impressive to see. So I really enjoyed watching that Perks bring out this assassin.
I like what we saw from G2 today. I think Origin obviously tried to coming back in the second game, but Origin have way too little focus on like objectives at the moment. And it was a lot more about, oh, is G2 now maybe overextending? We can get a great team fight, and that's how they kind of came back into the game.
I mean, so telling, you say they didn't have a lot of focus on objectives. Dragon, of course, to be argued which one comes up if you want to take it or not, but then G2 end up getting 3 Mountain Drakes and they can down the Baron objectives so fast. Maybe should have thought of that a little bit more.
Origin didn't get a single Dragon in that entire series, and you saw the power
one
of
Elder
that.
Dragon.
Oh, did they? Yeah, they got one Elder Dragon.
Which gave no bonuses other than the burn. That was it, like, here you go.
I mean, there were moments of promise. I mean, you can see that team fight where G2 overextend up in the top lane. You get that really nice headbutt pulverized combo coming out from Hybrid, which, you know, set up OG to maybe get that comeback, but then they just didn't have what they needed to really close things out.
And that was kind of my problem for Origin here. Yes, they had a good start with getting Source fed in that second game, but again, they gave over so many dragons. And then, to me, they just kind of relied on G2 messing up more than it was Origin playing extremely well in the late game to force a mistake. It was suddenly G2 were like all in on a tower, like TP on a minion on tower, pop Kindred ulti to try and get the tower down, and then obviously a great flank happens because they're completely overextended. Sure, that is a good move from Origin, but there's a lot of things to work on, and G2 were clearly the best team.
I do also really want to highlight Mithy, though, as well, because bringing out those supports and basically picking stuff to counter the compositions that he was going up against, the Soraka coming out, the Tahm Kench, especially in Game 2, made it really difficult for OG to push their advantage towards the mid-game, because every time that Fizz got on top of someone, Tahm Kench was there to save the day.
Yeah, players of the game, Perks and Mithy in that series. Very interesting interview with Mithy afterwards as well, where he said, I've been trying to figure out what the support meta is. Of course, we had thought, you know, is this MSI trend of range supports going to live through? And he said, there is no meta right now. So supports that have a big champion pool in the league should be able to benefit from that. He said even the last pick can be reserved for support and be important in the entire team comp.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen everything today. I mean, even Hustlin bringing out Nautilus support, which I actually thought was just gone for the most part. I'm like, well, nobody's really playing that. We even saw one top lane as well over in one of our series on EULCS2. So certainly, I think it's not just the support meta, but there are a lot of picks overall. So interesting to hear a support's perspective on that from Mithy.
Yeah, definitely. Taking a look at the other series that went on EULCS2, H2K versus Roccat. In the end, a 1-1. And quite surprisingly, Roccat ran over H2K in Game 1.
In Game 1, we were very surprised, myself and Quickshot, with the cast on this, just because, there wasn't a lot of expectation coming from Roccat.
There was for a bit.
That was Trevor for a bit, just joining us. But, in this setup for Roccat, they ran the Swain we'd been seeing in other regions. And Betsy, honestly, was a massive part of this composition, stopping H2K from being able to get to Steelback. Steelback then output the damage. But Game 2, it kind of all fell apart for Roccat at that point. H2K, with a massive set of plays, they had a really much stronger start from Jankos getting himself into the mix.
The meeting in the middle.
Carrying that.
Yeah, this was lovely.
Resolution.
I think we said this already, like before all the games and the makeup ruined, Freeze said, well, what do we do if it's a 1-1? And we were going to get that answered for him, but we didn't, our bad. But this time we got beautiful synergy in the middle, nice hugs, it's day one.
That's the beauty of ties, everyone's happy.
Yeah, everyone's happy.
Sure. James,
yes.
You watched the game, you casted the game. I didn't get to watch the game because obviously casting already on the other stream. Perang and Raze, two of the guys you're really looking at coming into this. Perang in the top lane first. How do you play?
First game was pretty solid. His play was to be honest what you'd expect in that matchup, with Roccat being able to take the win. Nothing really extraordinary by him, but Game 2 fell apart. Got camped pretty heavily by Jankos, was playing the Nautilus that we were talking about, and ended up, I think he was like 0-6.
0-7. Jankos played out of his mind though, and they really camped that.
Yeah, but I think his team plus the pick ban priority really put him in such a tough spot. Playing Nautilus into some of the top laners right now that have the damage and the tank ability in these fights made it so difficult for him.
Actually, Raze, that you were mentioning him, both Crepper and I were keeping an eye on the games as they were going on, and that Thresh performance was very incredible. He is the type of support that we were discussing the new Koreans coming into Korea, and Raze was the guy that liked to play Alsa, liked to make those plays and like to force these fights. And being on that Thresh, he was given the opportunity to do that.
I think one of the interesting things about that series, though, the J spans were drawn.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Against
Jace
Bang.
Bands, yeah.
Great.
He's one trick, man.
Mission accomplished. Also checking in with you guys at home. Earlier we asked who you thought won or lost the off-season, and Alex Adabra tweeted, "Not a team, but a player. Freeze is now surrounded by talent and has a chance to prove he is one of the better ADCs EU has." That's a little bit of a backhanded criticism on Renegades. I don't know.
At the same time, I think you look at his Game 1 performance, he got outfarmed by Steelback, and okay, maybe the setup wasn't there from the rest of H2K to allow him to get into the game, but he struggled in Game 1. Game 2 was a different affair. We saw Freeze finally playing forward, playing a little bit more aggressive, so he's still got it, just not in every single scenario. H2K got to play themselves as a unit rather than just rely on Freeze.
Yeah. Okay. We talk about Freeze being surrounded by better players or whatever, but the inverse is also true. As Crepo was saying, the influence that a player like Freeze and just the way his personality works can have on a team.
Yeah, I mean, Freeze obviously is a guy who learned quite a lot the last few years. He came into professional play in Season 3 when I had the pleasure of playing with him, and it was all about him being a carry, which didn't work out because we also had Bjergsen who also wanted to be a carry, and they were often like fight for farm. But that now changed. He's gotten older. He's learned to play like all these different styles. And one of the things he highlighted himself, they learned in NA, was the fact you don't have to be like the 1v9 carry. You can play for your team as well. And I talked to Prolly about getting Freeze, and he said he wanted a veteran AD carry, and he wanted a smart player. So when he had some of the questions, about what do you do in specific setups, if you're falling behind in lane and so on, what do you do? Well, Freeze had some very good answers, and that was one of the reasons they picked him. So I think he will be a great addition for the team. I think actually they have a higher ceiling now with him compared to last split, even though the individual talent may be slightly lower. And then we just got to see with H2K and this meta, which is a little bit crazy now. No one has really 100% figured out what is happening. And H2K is a team who does well when they know exactly what is happening, when they've figured out the meta, how to play the perfect lane swap, how to play the perfect rotations. So I think it will take a bit of time for them to really shine. But I think close to the playoffs, they will become better and better and will be able to challenge for the #1 spot.
Yeah, Freeze was also the one that said, the better I get, the better H2K will get. Turning our attention to another one of the series, Schalke up versus the Unicorns of Love. And we can actually tell the stories from the player of the game by Day went absolutely ham.
Yeah, those player of the games, as you were alluding to, I hope everybody can catch. Sharks' mic is cutting out for us here on stage, but
the producer's having fun. Mute.
Mute. Go ahead, guys.
No, just making sure it's still translated. Yeah, talking about Schalke versus UOL, the players of the game, just in case you didn't get that. So Deficio, you were casting it. Vidius, you were here on the desk as well. The players of the game stepping up. How was Fox? It looked like a one-sided series to me.
Fox was really good in the mid. Yep. I mean, he showed the difference in skill between him and Exile. And to be fair to Exile, he is new to the LCS. Maybe nerves affected him. Maybe I think when we were discussing earlier on, this isn't the sort of performance we were expecting from Exile. Moving forward, I hope that he'll be able to show what he's actually capable of. But still, Fox, you cannot take anything away from him because he performed out of his mind on that part.
Yeah, Vladimir, a fantastic pick for him. Great performance. And then, of course, his jungler right next to him, Gilius, who was the other. We had player of their match of the game, player of the match, player of the game.
We've gone over this.
Yeah, I know. I know. Now, Gilius was crazy. Like, he was one of the guys, Pyra and I, we talked about coming into the series, being one of the guys who would really benefit from a better mid laner now because it would open up for him to play more styles and he could kind of pick whichever lane he wanted to. He decided to pick mid lane very often, which was extremely good for Schalke. Like, what a performance from Gilius, and he's a guy we will follow every week here. I think he's just getting better and better. Yeah. And this Schalke team, sure, maybe Unicorns of Love right now is the weakest team. That's something we're gonna have to see when Schalke plays H2K tomorrow, if they can match up there as well. I think we saw a lot of good things from Schalke, a lot of improvements, much better understanding of how to push your advantage. So I'm pretty excited for this team.
And it's going to be painful. Like, looking at this footage, this is a heavily one-sided game.
It was a massive stomp.
But then you look at the fact that half of this setup for Schalke No Fear is, like, ex-UOL players. It's like you've got Gilius who played on UOL, you've got Fox who played on UOL. You've got to look at that and be like, how did we let these players go? They're destroying us this week. Like, I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Maybe. I actually don't think they care.
No, I don't think, I think you should.
I mean, Gilles is kind of some time ago, right?
I mean, he did tweet all of the failures of the past. I'm going to make up for all of it, and I hope he
And he
didn't
did.
blow his load in that first game, because there's where he went absolutely off. But Schalke, a 2-0 start, fantastic for them. We also got a tweet in about that game from @InvenKemper, and he wrote, UOL lost it, in my opinion, for losing their main carry and a star player. Steelback, that is what we've been talking about a lot as well. Steelback, you know, as he's always not heavily underrated anymore. I think he set the record straight in UOL, but it's still someone, they can feel that influence, especially when you also lose that mid laner.
Yeah, it definitely feels like if you look at the players just on paper, Steelback is a better AD carry than Veritas. Obviously, Exile coming in, not able to fill his shoes right now in that mid lane, also because he's so new to the LCS. So definitely a lot of risks and questions about this Unicorns lineup, but again, they will need time. I think we need to judge them around week 4, week 5, see what kind of improvement have we seen. If they play like this, obviously then, yeah, really, really poor off-season. Until then, I want to see what this team can do with more synergy, and I don't think playing, you obviously missed that, but they play like Taric, Kindred, and Twitch composition, where it's like, okay, on paper it's very fancy, you can keep the Twitch alive for the entire ulti duration.
Sneak out, you can not die twice.
Exactly.
It's great.
But you need a lot of coordination to pull that off, and they were just always split up and caught out of position, and then they died again and again.
There were some good Twitch plays though, moving into the mid.
They had a few good games.
Yeah,
Sure.
it was still the Twitch-esque thing that. That
I
was
hear that. I know we have a pro Twitch player on our table here.
Shucks, please.
I mean,
It's not ready yet.
Hey, as long as it's better than your Jhin, that's all I
It's way better than my Jhin, because there's less skill shots. I just got a
that's
little
true.
poison, and that's it. And then I close my eyes when I ulti, and I get a lot of kills.
I was like, shocks, please. And every day, oh, guys, I play Twitch. That was amazing. I like the
And you
best.
guys ignore it until here.
No, we don't.
do.
Keep it in our back pockets. In any case, back to the games and the actual pro players, taking a look at Splice versus Vitality. Much like the Rockcats' first victory, Splice coming out with a win over Vitality in Game 1. And what surprised us is how methodical and clean they were in it.
And what surprised me was from the minute the game started, it seemed like Splice were right up on what the lane swaps needed to be. We had some funky lane swaps with TPs coming in. This is jumping right to the end of the game, though. 10 minutes of almost nothing, and then out of nowhere, Splice just bursts down with the triple kill for Kobe off a pick and take out Vitality.
Yeah, it was a really exciting Game 1, but then Vitality seemed to have collected themselves moving into Game 2, and they set up some really coordinated dives. I was really impressed with actually how much pressure they put down onto Wonder during the early game.
Yeah, a lot of pressure put down. Game 2 of this series, though, was an explosive affair. We had Mountain into 3 Infernal Dragons, all taken by Vitality. Splice on the second Infernal were like, no, we can't let you have that. TP into the pit, into the river, and then die and let the second Infernal go over.
Infernal plus kills.
Yeah, exactly. They get an Infernal plus kills, and they pick up the third, and there's a just crazy team fight.
We had Cloud Drakes.
We had
3 of them. And an Ocean Drake for G2 in the first game. We're like, yay!
I tell you what, if you ever want to see something funny, watch a Maokai with 3 Infernal Drakes and a Karma support, basically 2v4 in a fight. You couldn't kill him, and
I feel like that happened in this game.
no real way of getting away from that for
How did
Splice.
the Mighty Bear play?
Good in Game 2.
Yeah,
Good in Game 2.
But Game
want
1,
the
they
hash
obviously
tree?
got ran over a bit. But we did see some really classy moves of him in Game 2.
and in Game 1, actually, his funny nature would shine through even in his gameplay. He was playing Kindred and was just like ulting to stop obvious smiting, Trashy, sorry, stop him smiting. So he'd just like ult when Dragon had like 800 health, so that Trashy would just go, I'll try and smite it, and then have his smite available. So Mighty Bear, not the best of series overall, but I it was pretty.
The
pretty
officials got high hopes for him. We talked to Cabo Shard and Trash here on the desk, and I asked Cabo about him, and he said, it's surprisingly going well the way they're slotting into the team and everything's going. So that's good to see from the side of Vitality, and also very good that Splice gets on the board with a win, because we were observing how kind of obviously day 1, not too many foregone conclusions, but it seems that the teams that have been absolutely at the bottom of the table in the spring split already look a bit crisper and look like they have really used that time in between the splits to grow.
Yeah, there are 2 teams, especially we would look at coming into this, Schalke and then Splice, as teams in the spring split who couldn't really challenge the top teams more than maybe once or twice, who now seem to make a lot less of the big mistakes where we're like, come on, like that's going to lose you the game if you mess up this lane swap here, if you do this macro move. They're much better. I think also the 2 improvements that teams have made, only made 1 improvement each, but they were big improvements. Like the weakest member got removed for both teams. I think Mickey is so exciting to watch. Mechanically, he's very, very good. I think if Splice with Mickey can be a little bit more aggressive, but also again, like Schalke, understand how do we then close out games? You know, how do we push our advantage even against some of the better teams? I think they can challenge for top 6. I think Splice are exciting to watch. I think they're good. I heard very, very positive things about them in the offseason, and the same for Schalke.
Yeah, before here, Vedius and I were talking how, you know, Splice, it was our first last split, and then you have a team like G2 or OG, and then they make it, but that is not kind of
that's not the standard.
No, that's not the standard. And that is the exception, especially in the form of G2. So that's just, they're going through a normal road right now. They have a slow first split, and this is where they actually get to prove themselves.
And I mean, on day 1, to take a game off Vitality, I think that's a great way to start overall throughout the split. You know, Vitality's still considered with their roster to be one of the top teams, especially top 6, I think is a fair assumption to make, yeah. So to start off like this with a team that's still working through some stuff, has had a lot of time to grow, I think this is a great way to kick things off in the split.
Yeah, definitely. As finally to round things off here in terms of our match discussion, Fnatic versus Giants. Obviously, the series that we saw here lasted 2-0 for Fnatic in the end. Final words about that, Giants. Signs of light, definitely. Knight, good performances overall. Maxor maybe not feeling the best yet in his first series, but Fnatic with Reckless and Yellowstar definitely looking strong.
Krepo emphasized it at the end of the cast, but for me, Knight is the guy I really want to keep my eyes on, because he just showed so much promise in both of his games. He was very solid during the laning phase. He seemed to have pretty good map awareness. He seemed to be a very smart player, and I just think that he has a lot of potential. And going up against other talented mid laners in Europe, I'm really excited to see how well he does.
I almost feel like Giants is back at their full Spanish lineup with the same kind of setup, where we look at the mid laner as the exciting guy. We have a split-pushing carry top laner in Smitty J, former Whirlip obviously. And we look at an AD carry where we're like, this guy is probably not good enough to be relied on as a carry, a bit like with Adri back in the days as well. And it was a lot about, you know, can the mid laner and jungler together make something happen? Can Pepe step up? In this case, can Knight step up? Sunstar's performance here, combined with some very poor calls from Giants where they went aggressive when they didn't have to, meant they couldn't win this series, like, at all.
Yeah, and when you look at the contrast, you saw Sunstar pushing out sometimes on his own, getting caught. That play with Gamsu right at the end of our second game kind of accentuates that. But you look on the other side to speak about their opponents, Fnatic, Reckless playing aggressive. Krepo was talking about it a lot. Reckless wanting to play more towards the front of the fights, trying to get aggressive. Maybe that's the kind of Fnatic we need to see, that are going to look to contend for the very top and not just find themselves in a third place game. You heard Yellowstar say it in the interview. They're looking maybe to try and get to the championship themselves. It's a long road away, but certainly I think it's a good building block.
He has to say it. It's cool. It's a cool storyline.
Hey, you play for Fnatic.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
You're not going like, yeah, guys, we just want to avoid relegation, you know. We just don't want to get demoted, that's all.
That's not how that works, and that's also not how it's reflected. Let's take a look at the standings after 10 games after day 1 of competition. 3 teams are sharing the lead after going 2-0. G2, Schalke, and Fnatic 3 points, and 1 point for everyone else in the middle, and 0 points, sadly, for Origin, Giants, and the Unicorns of Love. Getting used to this new standings board, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the situation where this is a funny one, and this is accentuated in a lot of, when you look at league formats like the Premier League in football, 2 points a difference between a win and a tie can, at the end of the split, be the difference between a playoff spot, a semi-finals bye, or relegation. So it may seem now like, they got a tie, H2K got a tie, who cares? Maybe that has a ripple effect later on. Every game does count in a best of 2.
Great. That was just great.
Hey,
I mean, it is true.
It is what
Fantastic.
Is that the selling point? That's
there it is.
We got
there
that.
it is.
With 10 Smash Nexuses on the day, we've also chosen 10 players of the game who will each pick up a point for their performances. Of course, this doesn't look... We don't have too much to go off, obviously, but we do have all the people that did great.
You can see that the leaderboard at the moment is very tense. There's a lot of fighting for the top.
But I mean, I am very interested to see how in like 4 weeks when we look at this, if someone has gotten a couple of players of the game, how they're putting their foot in the door and what it will look like. It's very interesting for us to track as well. And I think we did a pretty good job today on selecting them.
I mean, of course, we selected them.
Yeah, like,
Great
Pat
job.
ourselves on the back. Yeah.
No top laners.
as a team.
No top laners.
Sometimes it can be hard because there are a lot of, I mean, sometimes it's not always about stand-up performance. It's just the team as a whole plays really well together. So how do you pick out an individual? Like the Fnatic game, you have to give it to Gamsu as well. He had some phenomenal performances. Spirit, yeah, he got caught out a couple of times, but he also played really well in the Fnatic game. So I feel like a lot of players have a lot of opportunities to pick up that player of the game, but it's going to be interesting to see who is able to pick it up moving forward.
No, I just love that we had Stress's quote about the new system, and then Ferius's quote about the players of the game, selling it well. And as a reminder about the player of the game, the points earned for that at the end of the split will also help determine our summer MVP. So it is definitely important for those players to get on that board. Now, week 1 of the EULCS's summer split continues tomorrow with a clash between Splice and Roccat in the arena, while the Unicorns of Love and Origin will go at it in the LCS studio. Then Vitality will face Fnatic, and H2K gets on the Rift against Schalke to close out the week. I'm looking forward to that one. H2K, Schalke, no fear after what we've seen today.
Yeah.
Son, yes.
We'll be super excited to see what Schalke can do, but also the first game on Stream 1. Like Splice, Roccat, last split, you've been like, maybe not the most exciting matchup. Now, 1-1, both teams today against H2K, against Vitality. Some roster changes on the side of Roccat, 2 new exciting Koreans and still back, and then, of course, Mickey. I think that matchup is actually super exciting, and I think whichever team here pulls away, unless it's a 1-1 again, will, funny enough, get 3 points. I have no idea where I'm going with this, but it will be exciting. It will be exciting.
He was trying.
Yeah, I have no clue.
What I'm really excited for, in particular about that matchup, is the potential for the Jace, because we did see the Jace in the LCK. Didn't work out so well, but given that this Parang is known as a bit of a Jace,
that was my point. Yeah,
he could very well bring it out. I hope it's not banned. I really want to see it in Europe. It could inspire some other new picks in Europe as well. I'm excited for that.
We'll see. I think that does it. We've talked about all the match. Of course, we have a lot of action coming your way tomorrow as well. And our pre-game coverage begins tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Central European Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. Don't be late and get some sleep in the meanwhile. Until then, it is time for us to log out from all of us here covering the European League Championship Series. Thank you for joining us to jumpstart the summer split. And we'll catch you back here tomorrow.
And we're on the Rift. Hybrid getting chopped, and now Perkz gets a killing spree to pick up amazing looks for power. Return, that's a double kill for the fish. Teleporting out of there. Will he make it? Yes, he will!
Someone always does that. I don't know how.
Will he stay out long enough to get the smite off? No, he didn't get attention. He steals it away. Amazing, gives his life for the Origin cause. And G2 finished the 2-0. The double kill to Rales as he's untouched in the back line, looking for Chachi. They took out Hilly, and now Exile is gonna be all by his lonesome. A triple kill for Rales. And in goes the flash from Spraddle to start this fight, and Exile is evaporated. Cavalry's arrived, and Fox has taken down the jungler. A double kill now. Unicorns down. Schalke are gonna take it 2-0.
Hybrid, just imagine when we are gonna move to Berlin, there will be no Domino's and no McD. What do you do?
Pizza Hut, man.
No, there's no pizza.
But there's no pizza. No, we can't do that, man. No.
It will be Fnatic up against Giants.
They're coming. Listen. I need put ult. Minion. I'm going.
Oh, Spirit gets it! Fnatic and Spirit gets it down with Giants now being followed after. And Fnatic will find a very convincing end to this best of 2 here. 29 minutes into this game, and they crush Giants' dreams.